Hello, and a warm welcome to today's episode. I am Melissa. I am the co founder of the Center for Healing, and I'm so excited to have a chat with you today about the next year coming up, about 2025, about goals, about visions, about connecting with our purpose, connecting with our vision, and consciously creating the next year ahead. Now, you might be listening to this later in the year. Just know that it's still completely relevant because I'm a huge believer of that time has been created as a construct by humans to help us stay organized. And that's great. But I believe at any time we can look at the past, learn from it, and then consciously go ahead and create our future. So it's not just for New Year's, it's anytime you feel like you need an up level, anytime you feel like there's a higher timeline calling you in, anytime you feel like your level of service is changing, either to your clients, your community, your family, your inner world. It's important that we are consciously being aware of what we need to let go of and what we need to call in. And so I think traditionally and as a society, we tend to wait till New Year's for our New Year's resolutions. And it's a lovely time. It's a perfect time. It feels like a fresh start. We get a fresh start at another year. But pre me getting into this work 10 years ago, I was definitely a wishful thinker. I always wished that my life was different. I wished I had a different level of income. I wished that I found my life's purpose and was practicing it. I wish that the right person would come into my life. I wish that friends would see me deeply for who I was and deeply cared about me. There was a lot of wishes going on, but not a lot of action to support that, right? There was a lot of waiting for the external world to help me. And if we look at that on a deeper level, on the level of our conditioning and how we were raised, there's a part of us that still feels like a child that's waiting for our parent to finally pick us up and cuddle us and tell us that we're so worthy of love and we're so capable and we're so brilliant, we're so smart. I know for me, I didn't get that. And so as I grew up and even into my mid-20s and early 30s, I was still waiting for someone like a parent to come in and finally tell me I was good enough, tell me exactly what I should do, tell me my purpose, right? I know a lot of you listening you're probably feeling like you're doing your purpose and you have done a lot of self-work and self-love and self-healing. And this may not be resonating with you, but I'm just hoping that maybe it's something you can share with your clients as well. And so reflecting on the year that's just gone gives us a chance to grow, gives us a chance to change because we can't change what we don't acknowledge. So reviewing the past year, that being 2024 at the time of this recording, we can start to identify what worked, what didn't work, what we have outgrown. And so when we ask ourselves questions, then we can start to unravel perhaps places where we're too tight. We can start to let go of things that we've been holding on to that have been causing us pain. So I invite you just to reflect now. If you look back on the past year, where have you been repeatedly frustrated? You know, our anger, our inner anger is a call for boundaries that we haven't built yet, right? What was really interesting, I was talking to a friend and they were saying that they just don't feel anger. And I was like, what? And with empathy, I remembered when I couldn't feel or connect with my emotions, I labeled some emotions as bad. And I went on to explain that having anger and expressing anger isn't a bad thing. It's the way in which we deliver it and how it impacts others. And what I believe it's really there for is to create boundaries, either around our pain or when we've had enough of something. Like, what have you had enough of from last year that you need to change? The thing with us as humans is that we're really good at just enduring, you know, and we were like from the school system to the workforce kind of taught to endure. But I'm here to tell you, you don't have to anymore. So have a think about those things that maybe you're enduring that, you know what? My anger, I'm going to listen to that feedback and I'm going to change something. I'm going to use that energy of anger because it does give you energy to change a few things. I've had enough. What have been those things that you've had enough of? Right. And if you want to dive deeper into this, I have a really in-depth class and I'll put the link in the show notes below. Again, you can watch it any time of year. It doesn't matter. Any year, it's relevant. We go really deep into this. We do a group healing, group activation, and envisioning the future. So as you think about the past year or maybe a few years where patterns have been happening or you feel very comfortable, but a little voice inside is saying, you know, you need to let this go. You know, you need to change this. Whether it's you're working at a place that you don't feel aligned with, that you don't agree with their values. You know, our nervous system is always trying to scan to feel as safe as possible. But again, we can endure things we don't necessarily need to endure because of seeking so much safety. So, for example, you're at a job that you don't like, but you keep going because it's, well, at least, you know, I know how much money is coming in and, you know, I know the job back to front and it's consistent, right? But if you want to consciously create your future, would it look like that job? Would you be staying at that job for the next few years? And if not, what is the vision that comes to mind that you would love to be doing? Where, yes, you might have to learn new skills. Where, yes, you might have to actually, you know, challenge yourself a little bit, where it's going to push up against some of your limiting beliefs. But that's going to help you grow, and your service is going to be so much higher to humanity. And your soul is going to be lit up. And that's the main thing. You can be creative, you can be free. And so if we hold on to what is draining us out of that sense of safety, you know, we can kind of feel like our soul is dying. That's how I felt when I was in corporate. I wasn't even spiritual at that time, but somehow I had the spiritual words of, I feel like my soul is dying. And then I thought, if I worked as hard for myself as I did for someone else, surely I will make it. And with that one decision, I did, you know? And we want to also look back at our relationships. Are we happy with the depth of our relationships? from a human perspective, we do need connections. We do need friends and we do need loved ones. And to deny that is to deny our humanity. And depending on your belief system, it's to deny why we incarnated, to often be around others. And it's important. And I know that if you've gone through a lot of trauma, if you've gone through a lot of relational trauma, it is easier to be on your own. Because maybe we didn't see healthy conflict. Maybe we haven't experienced betrayal-free relationships. Maybe our attachment with our parents was not there. So we find it hard to trust and we feel anxious to attach to anybody, even though deep down we feel lonely and we would love that. We have big protection shields all around us. So, and I'm not saying that it's definitely healthy to be able to be on your own and be friends with yourself. And maybe that might be a part of it. Like, this year, do I need to fall back in love with myself? Become best friends with myself? How have I spoken to myself in the last year? Do I need to be a bit more kinder? Because all of the external relationships are going to reflect your internal reality. And it's not to say you have to be fully healed to attract an amazing relationship or friendships. It's to the degree that you can accept those and feel those. That you can be around the most loving people, but just not feel the love because it doesn't feel safe to let it in. So have a think about, ideally, not worrying about the how. What vision comes to mind in what areas? If you were to be able to consciously create your next year, if you were to be able to turn your business around, if you were able to offer different, methods or facilitate in different ways, right? Maybe you're at the moment helping children, but you really want to help CEOs. The people that you're serving might change, right? And just let your mind wander, just ponder different possibilities, and you'll know that it's right when you get a feeling from it, when you get a sense of excitement or, and that's you feeling your soul coming in and saying, yes, this is it. Right? Now, your nervous system might start to freak out after these visions and go, how am I going to do that? We're not going with the how at the moment. This is something I teach in the trauma-informed manifestation coaching certification. Let's just let go of the how, Let's just play in the vision for a little bit. And it's not to say that you can just play in the vision and then your life will manifest these visions. We do need to take action, but they're going to be aligned actions. And if it's a different circumstance or reality than you're experiencing now, what you know now is not going to be able to help you create the new reality or circumstance or vision, because you would have already created it if you knew how. So you have only created what you've created in your life with what you know now and what your body has allowed you to receive and do. Right? And so when I say don't worry about the how, I'm like, let go of what you think you know of how it's going to come about and allow intuitive messages and hits to come in to give you the easiest way to do it, ways that you didn't expect. You know, back in, I would say 2017, I made a vision board. And on the vision board, I had different location markers all over Australia. And these different location markers were really, I thought they were going to be the Centre for Healing franchise all over Australia, right? And I was like, that's my vision, is to spread our methods across Australia. We can't just do it from our little healing center in Melbourne. And that was my intention, to spread our, you know, this healing, this ripple effect. And what's really interesting is that exact thing manifested. So if you go on our website, thecenterforhealing.com/practitioner-directory, you'll see almost the exact picture that I had on the vision board, of the markers all over Australia, but they're actually all independent practitioners that are taking our methods out into the world, which is actually much easier for me in terms of not having to run like, 20 different branches. I was able to have the same outcome, was able to happen, but much easier in a way that I didn't expect. And so that's what I mean by it kind of manifesting in unexpected ways. And why, yes, play in the vision. Yes, we need to take action and do all the practical things, but we need to open our minds and our hearts and our souls for new information to download, new opportunities or people to come in that could help fulfill that in a way that we didn't possibly expect. Right? So, and when we call the vision in, we ask that it's in the highest and greatest good of all, ask that it's, whether you believe in the soul or not. Einstein talks about intuition. It's a thing, you think about someone and they call you. There's something going on that you can't see. You have to admit that. Right? We're all connected in some way. And just so being ethical about that and conscientious about that is really important. So again, if you want to go deeper, I'd love to invite you to the Envisioning 2025 workshop. I've put the link in the show notes below. And obviously, if you want to do some deeper healing or manifestation, you can see the practitioner trainings as well. There's root cause therapy and trauma-informed manifestation coaching. Thank you so much for listening today. Please give us a 5-star review if you enjoyed it, and if this resonated, you decide to join us, or you're already in the community, please give us a shout out and let us know that you found us on the podcast. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful rest of the day or evening wherever you're listening to this in the world, and I cannot wait to speak to you again soon.